Welcome back. You're watching Prime Property. Red tape, or rather green tape, is threatening to shake the foundation of Chennai's residential market. The fate of 8,000 constructed homes hangs in the balance. Builders, in the absence of a state government committee on environment, had gone ahead with construction, relying on provisional approvals from another state-level committee. Now, the environmental committee is in place and it wants to have the final say. Jude Sannith gets you the complete picture.
It's one of the biggest conflicts that builders, not just in Chennai, but across the country, have had to deal with. That delicate balance between environmental conservation and development. Today, I'll be taking you through how that balance has been upset in Chennai's property market. Come December, over 8,000 homes will have to be delivered to their buyers. That may not happen now. The reason? Environmental impact assessment norms that have thrown a spanner in Chennai's real estate development. Nearly 85 builders in Chennai are beefing up their legal armory. They are scouting for lawyers and expanding their in-house legal teams. The fate of 8,000 homes hangs in the balance, with the state's Environment Department threatening to cancel all their permits and deem hundreds and hundreds of buildings as illegal. Since last year, the State Environmental Impact Assessment Committee has slapped cases on some of the city's biggest builders. Notable builders like BGN, Appaswamy, Amar Prakash Constructions and Jain Housing are just a few in the firing line. The problem began in 2011 when the Tamil Nadu government did not appoint a state committee to carry out environmental impact assessments for residential projects spanning over 2.5 lakh square feet. The Chennai Metropolitan Development Authority, or CMDA, then intervened and granted provisional approvals, but on one condition. All these developers were ordered to obtain an environmental impact assessment clearance before applying for a completion certificate. On the cusp of completion, these projects' builders are now facing flack for environmental violations. The Environmental Impact Assessment Committee is finally in place but has stopped short of giving the green signal by issuing a no objection certificate, which is mandatory for developers to obtain for the final completion certificate. And without that, home buyers cannot be given possession. So once again, it's the consumers holding the short end of the stick as they fear the loss of their dream home.
Yeah, one side, they have to run behind the MOA for getting the clearances which are impending. The other side, they have to address the legal problem that has arisen on account of the summons. And third is, the completion certificate of the projects are now getting delayed because unless the NOC is obtained, we are not able to get the completion certificate. So it has compounded the problems for the developer and more importantly for the home buyer in such projects.
Prime Property learns that Chennai Tamil Nadu's legal team has a clear-cut strategy to fight these cases in court. Their contention is that environmental impact assessment be done away with altogether for residential projects. And their argument is simple. Homes are part of an ecosystem and must not be looked at as being hazardous to the environment. Reserve the environmental assessment, developers say, for industrial projects which have a far more significant impact. Some experts argue that the need for this particular green approval, the Environmental Impact Assessment Certificate, is redundant. This, as Chennai's master plan, already provides for designated pockets of residential, commercial and industrial areas. An additional clearance thus makes for pointless red tape. Urban planners caution against a blanket yes or no by the state. Instead, they favor an approach to study each case independently on merit, even if it's time-consuming.
If a certain area needs development where that project is going to kickstart an economy and change the fortunes of several thousand residents, and if there is a mitigating solution found for the environmental impact, that should be taken on board. It cannot be a blanket no.
And here's the irony of it all. Even as the Prime Minister is promising housing for all by 2022, down south in Chennai, green tape may actually prevent home buyers from moving into their new, already constructed homes. As Tamil Nadu heads into an election year, it will be interesting to see how the state government handles this sensitive issue. Let's also not forget that the AIADMK government may not want to take a drastic step before the global investors meet happening in September this year. So will Chennai and the rest of India adopt the ideal single window clearance system? Only time will tell. But if it does, we'll be sure to let you know right here on Prime Property. In Chennai, this is Jude, Sannith.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Prime Property. Do remember, you can always email us your feedback, send in your viewer queries, or even experiences with developers that you may want to share. Our email address is primeproperty@network18online.com. You can also tweet me. See you same time next week.